All right, now let's turn our attention to the latest business headlines. Well, with that, we're going to bring in a women and wealth expert and the author of The Money Queen's Guide, Carrie Carbonaro, and business analyst Krisha Lenzo in studio with us. All right, ladies, let's start with the markets, which went south. The Dow dropping nearly 600 points alone. And that's after Fed Chair Jerome Powell said the central bank is ready to get more aggressive on rate hikes if warranted. This morning, futures are up slightly ahead of the opening bell. Carrie, I'm going to start with you. So what's behind this investor reaction and what could this mean for the year ahead?
Yes, so he said higher, faster rates. So that is not good for the economy and not good for the American consumer. Consumers are already seeing sky-high interest rates. For example, if you go for a mortgage, it's now 7% and climbing. That's more than double what it was a year ago. If you're going for a car, it's about 8% and climbing. If you have mortgage, credit card debt, that's 20% and climbing. So each time the Fed raises interest rates, higher probability to push us into a recession.
Wow. Let's talk about this. So the Justice Department has now sued to block JetBlue Airways' $3.8 billion purchase of Spirit Airlines. The DOJ saying that merger would reduce competition and then hurt consumers who depend on low fares like Spirit Airlines. Krisha, turning to you. So this is actually the first time in 20 years the government has looked to block an airline merger. Kind of break down why they're doing this, what this is.
Exactly. So this is the first time the government has done this, and AG Merrick Garland said that it's because of anti-competitive measures. Spirit Airlines is one of those budget carriers that people turn to try to get those cheap, quick, fast seats. But realistically, with this JetBlue Spirit merger, there isn't going to be that other alternative. Luckily, CEO from JetBlue knew about this and they priced it in to their model. So they think it's going to potentially close early Q1 2024.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So this is a very interesting story. So we all know, we've heard about quiet quitting, but now there's something called Bare Minimum Mondays. I believe it's kind of trending all over TikTok. It's happening at the workplace. Carrie, it seems self-explanatory, but is there logic behind the latest trend? I mean, it kind of just seems like no one wants to work.
It's funny. So I actually think it's funny that it came from TikTok, but it has to do with the work-life balance, which everybody is talking about. And people are saying, oh, I can do the least amount of possible on Monday because I'm easing back into my work week and I'm scheduling no meetings and I'm taking my time and it actually helps my productivity. But in my opinion, I actually think it hurts productivity. From a self-described workaholic, I think it's terrible.
I completely agree with you. Bare minimum Mondays. I mean, just terrible. Okay, moving on. Plant-based foods now infiltrating the candy market, with Hershey coming out with plant-based Reese's peanut butter cups. Krisha, is there a market for plant-based candy? Do you think this is a good move for Hershey?
This is a great move for Hershey because all of these candy companies are turning to plant-based. The market is huge. It's expected to be $62 billion by 2030. So the fact that they're doing this means that they have to stay ahead of the curve, and people are going vegan. It's a popular trend.
It absolutely is. Of course, it is International Women's Day. Mattel is now hoping to inspire young girls to embrace the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Of course, that's STEM, by honoring a select group of STEM pioneers with their own Barbie doll. Carrie, this list actually includes 3 prominent American sisters. Tell us about it. Krisha, do you want to jump in here?
You bet. So with Anne Wojcicki, she is the former CEO of YouTube, and then also we had, or rather Susan Wojcicki, they're sisters. So they're being really honored here by creating these Barbie dolls that are going to be promoting women in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It's a great role model for women to see these young, to see these examples. So.
Absolutely. And I know last year they also had one with Jane Goodall. They're really
Yes,
coming out
exactly.
with a lot of these prominent women and making Barbie dolls after them. And speaking of International Women's Day, we've been fighting for equality, obviously, for decades. And while society has taught women to plan for things like vacations or weddings, it doesn't seem to really teach anyone enough about planning for financial future. So right now, 33% of U.S. millionaires are women. They're also less likely to have $1 million set aside in their 401k. However, that's projected to change, with women predicted to control 2/3 of the nation's wealth by 2030. Carrie, what do you make of this?
So we are very close to closing the gender pay gap, right? This is super exciting news. Every year it's getting closer and closer to closing. We've been around 80% of what men make for the last 20 years. Next year, next month is Equality Day, equal pay day, which is fantastic. And what's super exciting for women is money equals power, and women are getting the biggest wealth transfer we've seen ever. And that is something to celebrate on International Women's Day.
Absolutely. Well, on this International Women's Day, I've got two brilliant women with me, and I really appreciate it. Carrie Carbonaro and Krisha Lenzo, thank you so much for coming on this morning. Really appreciate it.